Good morning, self-made athletes. It's another early one. It's Friday, but I'm super excited because we're heading over to another gym called Limitless, and I'm going to be meeting one of the wellness or fitness gurus in Hong Kong. She's been listed as one of the best new studios that's been opened in 2021, as well as one of the best female wellness gurus out here in Hong Kong. And I'm excited because she runs obviously the gym side of things, but she used to be an MMA fighter, and so you already know MMA fighters are always looking out for their bodies, always making sure that they're tip-top shape in terms of nutrition, health. How can they make sure that their body is at the most optimal state so that they're ready for fights? And today we're gonna learn how to do that. So can't wait to meet her, and let's just enjoy this journey there. Some of y'all won't believe this, but we've got this escalator here in Hong Kong that covers like 2,600 feet, so 800 meters of just pure incline going up a mountain. It's pretty cool, and yeah, that's what we're going to be using today. But one of my most favorite places to go for just a quick drink in the morning is a blend and grind. It's right off the escalators, and they do wonderful coffee. They've got this amazing kind of smoothie, so let's go grab one. Alright, we're gonna continue this journey down these escalators. Grabbed my breakfast on the go. This is what I usually get if I just need something quick energy. I got peanut butter and banana on toast and a quick healthy smoothie. It's the easiest go-to if you're on the road. I mean, I could make it for myself, just don't have the time. Woke up, got out of bed, and started walking down. So yep, let's go meet Trish at Limitless. This has got to be the longest lift ever. I've been here for, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes, not minutes, I've been here for at least 30 to 45 seconds, and yeah, normally lifts in Hong Kong are pretty fast and efficient, but this one, oh, it's taking long as hell. Oh, there we go. We made it! Alright, let's go. So in Hong Kong, we've got this local magazine by Libre. Check out who's on the cover. It's pretty dope. And we're gonna get to meet her in person. Let's check this out though. Let's check out what this read's all about. Whoa, that's so weird. I was just reading about you. Hi, Trish. Wow, I literally was just reading about you on this magazine. It's crazy. And I saw a bunch of plaques that you got. Guys, this is Trish. Can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much, Mason. Hi, everyone. My name's Trish. I'm a strength coach by qualification. I'm a certified personal trainer, but also I'm a nutrition and functional medicine health coach. And I am the founder of Limitless. I've been around the Hong Kong scene for quite a while. My first concept was Bikini Fit, and then I moved on to found a gym called Warrior Academy, which we then we sold on to, and I was part of the founding team for a large commercial gym called the Goji Studios. I was the old director of fitness there. And I left a couple of years back, and just during the pandemic I decided it was time for something a little bit different. And I really wanted to, through my entire career, like what I found was there's all these like almost separate pieces of the puzzle that, you know, everyone kind of starts at a different point, but they all need that integrated or really truly integrated and truly personalized I guess approach to your own health, right?
Absolutely.
And health first, and then fitness comes, in fact.
See, this is what we've been talking about, and I've been doing this 45-day challenge with these guys on YouTube, as well as some of the people over at F45. And, you know, obviously on the series, it's all about fitness, just trying to get back into the swing of things. But we talk about 80% of the work is actually outside of the gym, right? You've got a whole bunch of things like recovery, diets, nutrition, your social life. Like, you can't just abandon your entire life just to be fit, right?
Yeah,
and so
100%. And I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you, like, I was that trainer. I was that trainer that gave, you know, the exact nutrition plan. I was that trainer that was like, you know, go hard or go home. There's no pain, no gain. You know, you sleep when you're dead. Like, and yeah, I mean, there's a time and a place for that. But as I've kind of gone through my career and I've seen actually what it has done, not just to my clients, but also to myself. Because what I put my clients through, like I've done it, and I went like there's retard and then there's full retard, right? I like went full retard on it. I had a scale that I carried around all the time. I was weighing myself every day, multiple times a day. Like every single day, I took like a, you know, like a side profile photo and like a front profile photo. I was recording. I used to joke that I had one hand for blood sugar and the other one hand for ketones. And I literally got to a point where I was pricking myself so much that I couldn't hold on to things. Like I used to do jiu-jitsu. I still kind of do it for fun now. But I would be like, ooh, ow, right? And I was just like, you know, it just got to a point where I had no social life. I was super restricted, and when I went out, I was crazy. Like if you look at that, you know, if you see alcoholics lying on the street on a weekend, like, you know, kind of wake up on a Sunday morning, you're like, oh, haha. I'm that person that you see on the couch after eating a kilo of cake because I hadn't eaten any carb or anything in months, and I'd just be like, one more rep, guys, one more rep, right? And my weight was just yo-yoing. And I just got to a point where actually I lost my period. So on more serious note, I actually started getting, at a time I was trying with my ex-husband for a baby. I was going through multiple miscarriages. And my health was just like, I look great. So this is what I couldn't understand back then. It was like, I was like, I look great. Everyone wanted to have that six-pack. I had it, right? But I was so unhealthy.
And it's obviously, it's more than what meets the eyes. Generally, like I've been saying, guys, you walk in front of a mirror. What you see is, oh yes, you know, like my chest is coming out, my biceps, my abs, whatever it might be. But the underlying things that got you there might not be the road to victory. And so, obviously, you just mentioned you did jiu-jitsu before. And, you know, it's not a total change within the realm of fitness. But from going to priming your body to making sure that it's top notch, ready for a fight, to kind of swinging back down into normal life, and then recycling through that to go back up into optimal stage. How difficult is that? And looking back, what you did then and what you can apply now, do you have any like tips or things that you can share on that?
Oh, wow. So I think there's a couple components with that, right? Like when you're an athlete, like a serious professional athlete, and even at amateur level, I was, you know, in those years, and this is a long time ago, I really wanted to become a professional MMA fighter. And I was on my road to doing that, and I did turn professional in 2015. Prior to that, I was doing a lot of weight cuts. And as you said, it was like priming your body, weight cutting, and then going back to normal life. But what is normal, you know, what is normal for an athlete? Back then, I was training anywhere from 12 to 16 times a day. I mean, a week, sorry, not a day. A week, right?
Okay.
12 to 16 times
That's
a week.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. It was, you know, I would wake up in the morning, I'd train clients, and then I'd finish by like 10:30. I'd start my own training 11 till about 1. right, then I basically do like more work. I'd come out of work, I'd train again. So I was hitting, you know, sessions maybe 3.5 hours of training every single day, and the only day that I had off was Sunday. So that was normal life. But at the same time, like you're, you know, the people, and I'm sure you guys, you're not training 12 to 16 times a week. I hope you're not, okay? And you're more than just an athlete. Like you're an athlete, obviously, because you're working out, you're training hard, and you're investing in your own sort of fitness. But also, you're a husband or a wife. You're a daughter. You're a son. You're a manager. You're a leader. You've got so many different hats, right? And something's got to give. So one of the biggest things I've learned, because the thing is, when you're a professional athlete, you're not looking at health anymore. You're just looking at performance. That's your number one goal, is to get a gold medal around your neck, right? To get your arms raised up. So you're looking at performance. At some point in that, it doesn't become healthy. Neither here, or all of that, right? But if you're taking it to, you know, if you're taking performance as something where you need to perform at work, you need to perform in the gym, you need to perform at your life, because how many of you guys want to be happy? Right? Like you don't want to be depressed. You don't want to be walking around going like, my life sucks, right? And you want to be inherently happy. And that, for me, that also is performance, right? So all of that, you need to then kind of say like, okay, what is the balance that I need to then try to achieve? Okay, so you have to balance your social life, your family. You have to balance, obviously, your work, because that pays the bills, right? Right. You have to balance your nutrition, and in fact, actually, your nutrition and your training needs to support all of that. Because if you only focus on nutrition and training, you didn't focus on your work, right? What pays for your bills today?
Nothing. You ain't gonna get no nutrition, no supplements.
Exactly.
You're gonna be like eating takeout food, and that's not nutrition anymore.
Exactly. So you have to basically be able to recover from your lifestyle. And all that, you won't be able to do any of that if you're not ready for it in here. So I would say, like, in a roundabout way, get the right mindset. First of all, you have to be in the right frame of mind. You have to be ready to make some changes, but you have to be realistic at the same time, right? And you have to also ask yourself, and every time, you know, we have clients that come in and be like, you know, help me, right? And I always say to them, like, okay, give me 10 reasons why. Like, why are you here? Give me 10 reasons. Like, the first 5 to 6 are horseshit, right? And then you get to the real reasons. You know, after you keep asking
the ones that are like at the bottom of the list, but those are like the
they're the ones here, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you want to know, right? I want to know why really why you here. Because these reasons are the key to actually having somebody that's happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And you know, you guys will not believe how much inflammation is caused when you are unhappy.
Oh my gosh.
In here, it changes so much. Cellular inflammation, it changes your gut microbiome, which has an effect on not just your, you know, there's a gut-brain connection, but that's actually also a gut-skin connection, a gut-lung connection, a gut-thyroid connection.
Everything is just connected to everything.
It's connected to everything. And if you're, you know, if inherently you're that, you know, calm on the outside, but like you are stormy on the inside, you got problems. So it's up here, right? The second thing then is, I would say, I have never met anybody that has said to me, I ate too much real food. I overate on like real food. Oh my God, I can't handle this anymore. So, I mean, you know, if you're sticking to real food, right, anything to get run, swim, fly, walk, and pull from the ground, pluck from a tree, I think you're actually pretty safe. It's all the things like, you know, peanut butter, protein bars. I see a lot of people like over snacking on protein bars.
Oh yeah, that's me for sure. Like, you know, snacks are so easy to come by now because you're always on the go. And I'm actually going to do a video on this about my top favorite snacks of the year. But like you said, super important to eat in moderation. You know, like chucking down a shake, like 2 shakes in between meals, like that's not good for you, right? You don't need that. And some people entirely replace their meals with shakes. And we're not going to get into that, but
Yeah.
I know
but
what you mean.
actually, speaking of that, right? Speaking of sort of shakes and figuring out what's good for you, I actually do like to use. I'm not a huge techie person. I still take notes on a pen and paper,
yeah.
right? But the two pieces of technology which I found like super useful to my clients are, number one, a continuous glucose monitor, and number two, something called a GI map.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So it's basically a PCR test. I know everyone's sick of PCR testing. It's not up your nose, I promise. It's kind of the other way around. It's a stool test, but it's a PCR test done on the bacteria that lies in your stool. Right? And I get to see exactly what your gut microbiome, your intestinal health looks like exactly. So you cannot hide. Because at the end of the day, you're actually not what you eat. You're what you can digest, absorb, and assimilate.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, on that note, one of the biggest things that I found coming into the studio is you've got clients, obviously, like you said, help me. You know, like, oh, I need your help, and whatever those reasons might be. And I'm sure some of you guys watching this, you might be trying to figure things out this way as well. And one of the programs that you guys run here, obviously, you got the fitness side of things. But what's captivated me is the nutritional side of things. And Tricia's mentioned this time and time again on this video, on just like chatting with her in these last 10 minutes, is you gotta focus on nutrition. Whatever you eat and how you use that, how your body absorbs it, is what makes you who you are. It's not exactly like if you eat a healthy breakfast, avocado, scrambled toast, is that good for you? Maybe, if your body can use those energy sources and use it appropriately for your next lift. Right? For me, not so good, because the fat just ends up, you know, like hanging around, and you just feel like even worse.
Well, there's genetics, right? There's your ability, you know, there's your DNA, your genetics that dictate, okay, what enzymes you produce, you know, how your, you know, what your methylation is like, or, and even actually there was a study done a couple of years ago where they analyzed the salivary amylases in saliva, right? And they noted that, this was done across China, they noted that the North Chinese salivary amylases were able to digest more complex carbs versus Southern Chinese that were able to digest more simple carbs. And that is really cool, because if you think about it, like coming back to, you're not what you eat, you're what you can digest. And I was told a long time ago by, you know, a coach, bodybuilding coach, right?
Yeah.
That said, you know, you should never eat rice. Rice is bad for you. I did not eat rice for 6 years.
Damn.
And I had a huge, you know, bad relationship with carbs. Like I remember the month where I was working actually with one of my mentors today. And he was, you know, he was trying to get me to eat carbs, and I was like, I mean, I was shaking eating. I was like, oh my god, I'm eating carbs. Like, it's coming into my mouth. And one of the craziest things was that, from a blood sugar perspective, because before I would just be pricking my finger, right? With continuous glucose monitoring, you're able to see your blood sugar responses, not just at that point in time, but continuously in real time. So rice for me, my blood sugar was nothing. And the sweet potato and the potatoes that I was eating was causing me to go into a pre-diabetic blood sugar level.
Oh, wow.
Up to 3 hours post-meal, which, you know, we're told in nutrition, I don't know, in Instagram nutrition, that you measure 60 to 90 minutes post-meal. I was going into pre-diabetic state 3 hours to 4 hours post-meal time on what I was eating. And that's also why I wasn't able to lose that last bit of belly fat, right? And it's just, you know, it's so important to understand, okay, you know, we've got that technology. How can we use it? How can we leverage that? But basically what I'm saying is nutrition isn't a one-size-fits-all. We know this, but if you want to truly understand what works for your body, right, then you know, you can use CGM in this way, or you can use like your functional lab testing and things like that for that. I think a lot of the functional lab tests today are quite like they're pre-interpreted for you, right? So you don't see the raw data.
Yeah.
That's the other thing as well. So work with someone who is able to obtain that raw data and help you understand what that means, and then interpret it accordingly to you. Because what I find in a lot of these tests is that they pre-interpret it, but they don't know you. Have they asked you questions about what's the sleep like? What's your recovery like? Actually, do you remember if you were bottle fed or breastfed? Were you a vaginal birth or cesarean kid? Right? Did you go through traumatic life events? And what do you work as? Right? They don't ask you enough to draw a
full picture, right?
Full picture to then tell you what to eat. Right? And all these anyway are computer generated. So you still need someone to sit there and kind of consider all the different permutations and consider your life and you and who you are. And also there's that human element of like, how do you respond to certain things? What are your core beliefs? Right? What are your habits? Are you tied to having that little piece of chocolate a night because maybe that was what you were given when you were a kid?
And it's just become a habit.
It's just a habit, right? Or someone said to you once, like meat is bad for you, or and then maybe your parents said that, and you held on to that belief because, I mean, innocently, we believe what our parents, most of us believe what our parents say. When we're little, then you grow up. Right? Or there's some celebrity you're following, or there's some influencer you're following, and their word is gospel, and so it's in there, and you're holding on to that, right? And that for me is like, you need to actually, it comes back again to mindset, you need to have an open mind, right? And sometimes, I use some of these things because sometimes blood doesn't lie.
I mean, it's
there. It's there.
Cool. And so, obviously, we've been on a journey, 45 days, fitness. I talk a little bit about, what I eat on a daily basis. Didn't track anything for the first 2 weeks. Was able to drop 1% body fat. And, for people who know me, people who follow me, they know that I'm a flexible dieter. So I'll eat whatever I want, and I'll work off whatever I can, okay? And then 2 to 3 weeks after that, I started tracking a little bit of calories. So just thinking, okay, here's my calorie intake for the day. This is how much I need to burn to try to lose this amount of fat. Let's try to go after it. So not looking closely at macros whatsoever, just filling in the calorie count. So I might have gone under or over in certain macronutrients. And, I was able to drop 0.9% or 0.2%. So I got down like a little bit. And now we're like at the end zone where I'm still not really tracking precisely, but I'm trying to make more conscious decisions. And with what you've shared, this is going to be a completely separate segment to our 45-day challenge, guys, by the way. It's really just understanding those figures. So we've done the DNA test. I'm not a science guy. I don't like the chemistry and biology and stuff like that, but it's really nice to know what your body is responsive to. And like Trish said, some of these reports they give you, they're very high level. It fits a suit of
genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger.
There you go. Exactly.
And it is so important. I mean, you probably did Circle DNA.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I was one of their first change makers. So I love the test, right? I love the test, but again, as I said on their, as I said in their marketing, I think I was in one of their videos, I said genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So you need to still consider that some of the recommendations in there, do they fit your current lifestyle?
Exactly.
Right? If for like myself, I'm a poor methylator. I basically have the holy trinity of like everything that could make me inflamed. My genes basically suck. Right? And it's the moment I'm a little bit stressed, the moment that I don't sleep, the moment I start like full on like getting into my head, and then I look at a piece of cake, my genes tell me that I just go from like this to right?
It happens. It's built into us, and we don't know that. So
there are amazing ways to biohack that, right? And that's what I do.
Yes.
A little bit. But on the whole, I know full well that I am just so, my exposure or my inability to tolerate, say, like cortisol, is something that I need to watch. Even though when, you know, if I look at, say, certain genes, right, I actually have something called the warrior gene, which in combination of like poor methylation genes, it's not a good combination. It's fucking shit, right? So basically, I'm like that person that, you know, 100% and more compliance, but then I stress out about it. So stress, but I will still push on, right? And that actually, from body composition and performance perspective, puts me backwards. So genetic testing is great to understand like what your market. All right.
Back at it. Sorry guys, my camera ran out of battery, so we've switched to my phone so we can continue this conversation. But
yeah. So speaking of the warrior gene, you know, it's an interesting one because you're able to having a COMT gene means that you have higher levels of dopamine, and sometimes in certain variations of that gene you are, if I'm not mistaken, you do not process it as well. So it tends to stay around, which is great because these type of people, they're type A people. But if you combine that with poor methylation genes, potentially being highly inflammatory, that's not necessarily good either. And so I know that for myself, I need to kind of keep certain things in check, right? My micronutrients are really important, and actually they're important for everybody. Okay. But I also need to focus a lot more on recovery, which I'm really poor at doing because I'm like, you know, in my head I'm just like, I can do this, I can do this, like go hard, right? So I know that recovery is almost a priority for me. So when I do my own nutrition and program design, for me, something like, you know, doing CrossFit every day, it's not sustainable, puts me on a road to actual destruction, in fact. But, you know, I almost have to go against what I like doing and do something that's maybe a little more slow, or it has more tempo, or, you know, other things. But I get that dopamine hit generally from doing martial arts. So, you know, so that's, in a way, that's my balance. So my strength training is what gives me structure balance, which gives me stability, strength. You know, it's not something that, you know, I'm like, I love hitting someone in the face, that's, you know, or, you know, or rolling with somebody, or punching and kicking. That's my sport, but my training has to sustain and nourish actually my lifestyle. Plus the fact that I'm also a mom, so I don't sleep well anyway. I sleep when my child sleeps, right? And right now for the last 3 weeks she does not sleep, so I look like shit. Yeah, so it's my lifestyle right now is just like no recovery, right? No recovery, all work, some training. But again, like I said, my biggest focus right now, because I can't train as much as I want to, is on nourishment, right, via nutrition. And it's not so much the calories actually, it's more the micronutrients and the quality and the nutrient density of the foods that I'm eating. So I try and avoid things that are processed, even though they're easy. I mean, Hong Kong's full of easy food, right? But I do try and focus on having whole foods, and that, for me, like I'm not. I run by a few rules. Number one, Hari Hachi Bu, right? Eat till I'm 80% full. Okay. Mornings, I kick off my mornings with a high fat, high protein breakfast, right? High fat, not meaning like bacon and eggs. You know, I mean it's more
healthy
like
fats.
Healthy fats. You know, lots of omega-3s. It could look like sort of a smoked cooked salmon. We have one of the guys that does it really well at the gym, so I basically just like order from him, and like, you know, he's my meal prep. Like meal prep it with some eggs or with a little bit of bulletproof oil, like acrylic acid, right? That type of stuff. That's done out the way. I increase my carbs as I go through my day.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then honestly, actually also meal sizes. Eat big in the morning, and as the day goes by, my smallest meal is at night. And I try and eat at least 2 hours before sleep, because digestion is not recovery. right? You need to be in a relaxed state when you digest, but when you sleep, you should not be digesting at the same time because the body needs to recover.
That is interesting because who else who's watching this was rolling home after Thanksgiving dinner? Because it was like, you know, everyone's feasting, right? And by that time, you know, one of the biggest things that I tell my clients is you gotta eat slower. You don't know when you're full if you're just like inhaling the food, because by the time your body's like, oh, I'm so full, you're gone too far.
Actually, there's a really cool rule that I give people on this one, if you don't mind me sharing.
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's the 5, 10, 15, 20 rule.
Okay.
So before you have your meal, take 5 deep diaphragmatic breaths, right? Make sure every spoonful, there's 10 seconds between each spoonful.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay.
Spend a minimum of 15 minutes on your meal. So not...
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes, get back to
yeah,
it. Yeah,
exactly. And take a 20-minute walk after without electronics.
Oh, okay. 5, 10, 15, 20 is the rule of thumb. Give it a try. Honestly, it won't take you that long if it's like...
Yeah. It's your lunchtime.
Yeah.
It's basically your lunchtime. You get your steps in, right? You get a mini digital detox. Come on, you can get away from your phone for 20 minutes. You can, guys, you can. As much as you think you can't, you can. Okay? You're enjoying your food. You're actually, you know, you're incorporating mindfulness without incorporating mindfulness.
It's appreciating what you're putting into your body, and you just...
Exactly, because I'm not one of those like people, but the 5, 10, 15, 20 for me works because I'm not really, like, I'm not going home with my meal, but I'm kind of going, okay, you know what, this is my meal time. I need to actually sit down and eat. Yeah. And then I'm just gonna, you know, go for a wander around the block, couple of blocks, and it's nice. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah. So on that note, you know, Trish gave us an amazing tip, and as always, for you guys who are watching, I always not put myself first, okay? I just put myself to the test so that you guys can relate and see what's going on. You know, I try to practice what I preach, and so it's very important that, you know, I'm able to go through something and share those experiences with you rather than just saying, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, this is it. You know, it's not who I am, and so this is very, very important because Trish offers a nutritional plan here, and she's gonna go into details about that, but I'm gonna place myself out there, and Trish, if you can just introduce what it is, why it works so well, and then we'll get right into it.
Sure. So we run something called the Metabolic Reset 4 times a year. And it's a functional medicine health coaching program that ties in with education. And we deep dive into gut health, as well as continuous blood sugar monitoring, and looking at sleep management, stress management, all of these things, because basically we're looking at that whole relationship between your thyroid that governs your metabolic rate, right, your metabolism, your gut health, which helps you to digest and absorb, right? We look at your sleep and your stress because that helps with your rest and recovery, right, as well as your cortisol management. Your pancreas, blood sugar management is really important because that has a huge impact on sleep, that has a huge impact on stress, and that also has a huge impact on the ability to digest, okay? And we basically put all these things into an 8-week program, but we don't just do that, because next year what we've done is we've also added a portion where we look at rewiring the brain.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And we're adding a habit change component to it, where we dive in and we actually talk about all the different parts of why maybe, you know, you start something and then you can't seem to sustain it for the rest of your life. And we actually look towards the mental, psychological, emotional part, that why you tied to certain beliefs, why you tied to certain habits, right? Why you tied to certain automatic negative thoughts, or why you always go into the same challenges all the time. And we look at here so that we are actually getting a good change between the gut brain and the brain gut. Because what I found in the last year of doing the metabolic reset is we're doing phenomenal stuff with the physical body. But this year we're partnering with, I'm partnering with a neuroencoding coach to do it, and we're expanding the program. And so we'll be adding all that onto it. So now it's an 8-week program. It's predominantly run online. You basically get 9 workshops across 8 weeks, right? All educational. You get 8 sessions of one-to-one health coaching. You've got a blood sugar monitor that's part of the package. If you're in Hong Kong anyway, that is. And we actually do the reset with people who are overseas. You have access to at cost functional lab testing. Again, if you're Hong Kong based anyway. There is a support group, so all the participants get put on a group. There's a lot of tips, handouts, videos, like stuff like that. It's very interactive, and
it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's just it's a way to kind of do something for yourself, but you're also doing it within a community of people who are also in that mindset of trying to change their own health and fitness in at every aspect of the way. So you might come in, we've had people who've had eczema who no longer do, or psoriasis, joint pain, all disappear. We've had people who are pre-diabetic, no longer diabetic. I had one girl in the last round who messaged me today, and she said, I've come off my thyroid medication, which is really, really cool. And she's like, I no longer restrict myself. I actually eat what I want, when I want. I take a balanced view, and I've lost weight.
That's amazing.
Which has been really cool. So it's all centered around, instead of telling people what to eat, telling them why and how it works for them, and then helping them find out exactly what works for them. Right?
That's super important, guys, because obviously, like, while I've been sharing all these tips and tools and things that I've been using, I was telling Tricia earlier that, and you guys obviously know, I've been testing out the Lumen, right? And it tells you based on your breath whether you're burning fat or carbs. And that's only a part of the equation, right? You only know so much as what that tool can tell you. And so I think this is a really great deep dive into just knowing more about you and what you need to do to bring your health to the next level. And so for those of you who are watching, if you just want some broad knowledge, go do the DNA test, grab Lumen, track your calories on MyFitnessPal, or whatever it is. Those are great tools to just get you started. For someone like myself, or for some of the viewers here who have gone through that and they want to go to the next step, they want to examine what's the best way to go about it, what's the, not perfect, but the most ideal way to track everything, and just be able to sustain a lifestyle that is more tailored for them specifically, not just because Mason said, not just because Trish said that this was good for 8 clients and it could be good for you, not just because your online coach looks amazing on IG and sells you a $100 kind of coaching online thing. This is actually going to give you, it's all about you. And so how do we get started?
Well, let's start with some blood sugar monitoring. So this is a Freestyle Libre. There are two types of sensors in the world. The other company is Dexcom, if I'm not mistaken. But here in Hong Kong, we have Freestyle Libre. This is a continuous blood sugar monitor. There's a teeny tiny needle, which I'll
Who doesn't like needles?
It just kind of goes, just in the tricep area. It doesn't hurt at all, or it shouldn't hurt at all. And what it does is, once you stick it in, you need to connect it to your smartphone. It takes about an hour for connection, to kind of the sensor to kind of connect to your smartphone, and then you're ready to go. So the little needle measures capillary blood, and it measures the amount of glucose in blood.
Does it affect people who train a lot? So like if you're doing triceps or push-ups, how does that work?
You just have to make sure that you're not inserting it like directly through like the belly of the tricep. Like that would suck if you're doing a tricep extension and every single time you're like, ooh, I feel that needle. I feel that needle. So placement, just try and put it in between or you can't. There's a parody online somewhere. You'll see like somebody who's like put his sensor all over his body but his tricep. It's pretty funny. Like on his face, on his collarbone. But yeah, this is generally where it should go. And then the other thing as well is if you are a super sweaty person, you're gonna have to I would just kind of like tape it down, right? Just to make sure that the stick is pretty decent. But if you are like super sweaty, like you're the type of person that walks out the gym and there's like a puddle and a river that flows behind you, then tape it down. I think these are the two instances. If you play any contact sports, things like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, perhaps rugby, even where there's a chance of rubbing that against somebody, then I would definitely take that down. I have seen people put it just on their thigh as well, in an area where there's potentially less rub, but then that has worked for some people. But to begin with, chuck it here.
All right, let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right.
Alrighty. Just gonna pop it. So I'm just gonna put it right there. Okay, because that's like if you were to flex. So yeah, exactly. See, I wouldn't want it in that belly, and I definitely wouldn't want it in that belly. So I'm gonna pop it here.
Cool.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So beautiful space. Oh, nice.
Just so you guys can see from all angles, yeah?
There you go. So that's locked and loaded. Alright. And you're gonna relax and yeah.
Oh, there it is. That's
All done.
it.
Easy sauce. Yeah. So flex out. Just fine, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. You'll get used to it though.
Yeah.
But if it's right in that belly, it'll be
a lot more. So there it is, guys. 2 weeks of just tracking. Gonna have to tape this up as we do our workouts. Obviously, we got a couple more days before we wrap things up. But
just don't walk into side doors or side cupboards. Be really careful with that. Like I've actually caught it on. I've walked through doors and I've just been like, ow! Yeah.
What's the best way to take the tape off?
What I would just tape